It's great to be here. I can't wait to talk more about this campaign, which is really good to.
Programming. My intention is to bring my experience as well.
I would have moments where I would just not be okay around people.
As a social worker, I have always wanted to impact people and help.
Some of our young people get trapped in that pipeline at 16.
Has a mental health disorder and or diagnosis, when he or she has an episode, like they're not even conscious.
Too, to see, okay, how are we taking care of these human bodies behind bars?
Let's invest in people and not prisons. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are again privileged to have with us one of Case's clinicians, Lily, who works with the Alternative to Incarceration program in Cases. So, Lily, tell us a little bit about what actually attracted you to your form of employment as well as the Treatment Not Jail Coalition.
So thank you guys so much, first off, for giving me the opportunity to come on here today. What attracted me to this role was actually, as a social worker, I have always wanted to impact people and help people. And I at first thought that I would work better with children. And then I started taking specific courses in the criminal legal system while I was in school and learning more and more. And it really interested me in policy and in just the different systems. And so when I saw this opportunity to become an intake clinician, specifically on the ATI intake assessment team, I immediately had to apply and begin working, in the field. I was connected with the Treatment Not Jail Act or Coalition from a legal aid attorney that we all know very well, Jeffrey Berman. We work very closely together with different public defenders or private attorneys who have referred their clients to us, thinking that we can assist them with a resolution to their case, or instead of bail as alternative to detention. And so he reached out to our team and asked if anyone was interested in joining, and it really interested me. So I signed up, and here I am.
So tell us a little bit about the work that you do on a daily basis, Lily.
Sure. So specifically, I will receive a referral from, defense counsel, even ADAs, even social workers at other agencies, just when they think that it's a good opportunity for a client. And I will set up a meeting with them and basically do an assessment or an evaluation of their needs, their goals, their life history, and kind of get an idea of how our programming at Cases can assist them and determine if they're appropriate to pursue as a client and assist with an alternative to incarceration or alternative to detention. After my evaluation, I reach out to their attorney and we pretty much set up a plan and determine what kind of advocacy is needed. And I kind of take on the responsibility of writing a comprehensive assessment report that I then send to the ADA and the judge that will outline pretty much everything that the client shares with me, and records and treatment recommendations, how our program will assist them with their mental health needs, their substance use needs, employment, education, long-term housing. All of those things will work together and hopefully help them, return to the community.
So if I got you correct, Lillian, for our audience here, so predominantly the participants that you guys work with are people who are incarcerated and they have a mental health diagnosis and or substance use?
So the majority, yes. But we also work with individuals who have pending cases, open cases in the Bronx, Manhattan, or Brooklyn right now, are the three counties that we do cover. And it can range from 16 years old to 85 years old. They can be living in the community already. They don't necessarily need to have, dual diagnoses. They don't, specifically for youth, they don't need to have a mental health diagnosis if they're more focused on employment or education. But our youth program focuses on 16 to 27. And then that program is called the ROAR program. And our Nathaniel Community Success, NCS, encompasses the youth if they have mental health diagnoses or a higher level of needs in that capacity. So, young adult to however old. And then our Nathaniel ACT team is actually you're familiar yourself, but it's our most comprehensive intensive treatment program while as an outpatient in the community 24/7 for individuals with serious mental illness. And there are some qualifiers there, but it's 3 eligible programs.
But let me hear about the qualifiers for the Nathaniel.
So for the Nathaniel ACT team, I actually wrote them down to make sure that I didn't forget specifically. They have serious mental illness. They have to be designated as SMI, yes. They have to have high service needs and felony legal histories. So this program has operated since 2003 and has expanded greatly, actually. It's a 2-year mandate. So technically it's a minimum of, I believe, 9 months, but many of the clients take it the full ride, the 2 years of support. And then, that encompasses experts in psychiatry, mental health, nursing, social work, substance use treatment, peer support, housing, the whole everything. And it's changed lives. We've actually last year, Nathaniel ACT partnered with Mutual of America, and they did a documentary on Nathaniel ACT specifically, and it interviewed clients who came to Nathaniel ACT with diagnoses such as schizophrenia and other major depressive disorder, who had open cases and who have since resolved their cases with the assistance and the support and the services that have been provided to them by Nathaniel ACT.
So tell me a little bit about how Nathaniel ACT came into existence.
So the Nathaniel Project was the beginning of all of the kind of ATI programming things. And Nathaniel was a person. He was a client. Our former CEO, who recently retired, actually was so connected to this program, invested so much in this program. His son, one of his sons, is named Nathaniel now along the way. So Cases has always been committed to, impacting communities and changing lives and providing services, to all demographics all over New York City. And so since the birth of the Nathaniel Project, specifically since 2003 with Nathaniel ACT, it's just begun to expand and get bigger and be able to allocate services to many more people.
Okay, I want to go back to, you said Nathaniel actually was a person. Can you tell us a little bit about Nathaniel and what happened to him, and basically, why did they come up with this program after him?
So that's a great question. I personally don't know too much about Nathaniel individually. I just know that he was a client who was working with cases, and I believe that he impacted so many individuals at cases that and gave so many ideas to what is needed in the community, that they were inspired and they went with it and developed now what is the Nathaniel Clinic, which is up in Harlem on 125th, that is open to everyone. The Nathaniel Community Success Program, which is one of the 8 Sky programs, and Nathaniel Act.
Yeah, because I had read something at some point where where they said that he was an individual that had several encounters with the criminal justice system. He had mental health diagnoses as well as a substance use history and no housing. And the minute that they connected him to housing and addressed those other barriers for him in terms of substance abuse and get him the right mental health treatment, he never reoffended.
Right.
He never went back to prison.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, you know, that is for me the epitome of treatment, not jail.
Yeah.
So basically, you know, you guys have been doing this since 2003.
Yeah, and even before then, I think cases has been around for a very long time, and it just continues to expand and, you know, support the treatment, not jail, the closing of Rikers, the more housing. It, you know, we see it every single day with our clients in the courts, on the street, all of the people who have been impacted by these traumas, by these systems, by, you know, substances and mental health. And, you know, we'll continue working as hard as we can.
So Lily, one more question I have for you. How would you describe for our audience what treatment, not jail, would look like? If you had to paint a picture, paint that picture for us.
Okay. So I think treatment, not jail, would look like diverting our clients with these specific needs, who have been suffering in the community, not to jail, but to comprehensive treatment programs after, you know, they've come in contact with the criminal legal system. And honestly, I see it as a cry for help in a way, where when they have entered the system and are now, they might have entered after experiencing an episode, after, you know, really hitting rock bottom with substance use, after experiencing a incredible trauma, and we're going to send them to somewhere that's going to re-traumatize them? Absolutely not. That is horrendous. It's inhumane. It is so many things. When we have the resources, we have the knowledge, all of that, to create and develop thriving treatment programs for individuals to keep them safe and the community safe. So by doing that, you take an individual who might have just been arrested and now entering the system. They go in front of a judge, or they go in front of an individual who's going to review all of the things about them.
So, Lily, you were just referencing, we take a person that has a mental health diagnosis and we, you know, basically put them in jail, re-traumatize them all over again, and, you know, then we send them out and think that, something different should happen. But
Right.
So go ahead, Lily. You can pick it up from there. Bring us back where we were.
Perfect. So we take someone who may or may not have committed a crime, and we put them in the jail that we have in here in New York City specifically, Rikers Island, or any other jail really, and we re-traumatize them where they're not getting the services that they need in the slightest. It's actually quite the opposite of rehabilitation. Unfortunately, I hear such crazy things from my clients that, unfortunately, it looks like on paper that, oh, this person is not taking their medication. They're taking it 30% of the time. When my clients report to me, well, they came to me when I was asleep. They didn't come today. I wasn't given my medication today. So then that person ends up penalized in the grand scheme of things, because then that's used against them when it's really the system against them. And so why wouldn't we as a society want to take an individual who clearly needs services, who needs resources, who needs not jail, but treatment, and why wouldn't we want to give that to them to hopefully, more than likely, decrease the chances of them committing another crime, when really all they need are the basic needs in life: housing, support, care, food, and treatment for the things that they've been through or struggle with.
And I heard you speak to the whole idea of, like public safety. So can you just connect the treatment to the public safety? Because a lot of people say, all right, we sending them to jail, they coming out, and because they coming out, the public is unsafe. We need to keep them locked up. What do you say to that?
So what I say to that is that we've all had moments that we're not proud of. And I think if we really sat with ourselves and in pure honesty and thought about what led to us doing what we did, behaving the way that we did, I'm almost positive that we were lacking something. Whether that was support from outside or something going on inside of us that just wasn't clicking, right? And my argument to counter the one that you brought up would be that if you divert someone from the jail system into treatment where they don't have just one person that has their back, they have several. They have a team of people who are looking out for them when maybe they had no one before. And that could have led them to doing what they might have done. When their needs weren't addressed, when their symptoms were pervasive, all of that. I would argue that criminality would decrease. That jail is not necessary for a lot of people, and that the system that we have unfortunately built has, I think, has really reinforced this weird fear that we just throw people away, and despite and we don't think about what else they might need. We lock them away and we're done. But we don't need to do that. We can reinvent this, and we can pass these acts, these laws, and these policies that protect individuals who people would say should be locked up. I say they should be treated.
So that sort of like, I like, the picture that you painted with respect to that, because when we treat people, we're actually making the public a safer place.
Absolutely.
And when we don't treat people and we just recycle them in and out of prisons and jails, what we're actually doing is contributing to a public health crisis. And then we're blaming the victim for being a victim.
Yep, absolutely. You made me think of something that a few of my clients actually, I'm thinking about, that they have been through so many things in their lives. And I think that some of them have believed that they believed what society has told them, that they're bad, they're hopeless, and they're criminals, and that's all that they'll be. And when I meet with them and I speak to them and I try to, hear them out, learn their history, and see them for more than whatever their rap sheet says, it's completely different. We don't discuss the charges, the context of the case in our evaluation. And that's something I actually love, because I get to see my clients as regular people like me and you right now, just sitting here talking. And I learn about whatever they want to share with me, but really what motivates them and what humanizes them. And I often ask, my favorite question of our evaluation is, give me 3 words to describe yourself. And some of my clients have really never been asked that question. And that speaks to the narrative of, like, why aren't we caring more about people? Why aren't we investing in learning about people's trauma, what caused them to do the things that they might have done, what caused them to use these substances, what was going on in their head, what were they experiencing? All we see is the crime, right? And that's not right.
So my final question, Lily, do you think that a judge and a district attorney has the ability to evaluate the mental health status and or the substance use status of a person that is before them that is charged with an offense?
You mean in the capacity of, like, with records? Give me a little bit more.
Just a person standing in front of them that they only know what the crime or the offense that the person is being accused of. They know nothing else about the person.
I would disagree with that. I would say that, no, like, to put it on myself, like, if I allegedly committed a crime and I went in front of the judge, I don't think they would know anything about me at all. I would think they would need to dig deeper and need more information about me to make a determination of, what should happen. And I think that should happen to our clients as well. They shouldn't just be judged off of a crime, or allegedly a crime.
So basically you're saying that a judge and a district attorney does not have the clinical ability to assess whether or not if a participant needs treatment.
No, I don't think they do. They don't have the clinical experience to judge that. And I think that they need individuals who are in roles like clinicians, like, professionals, doctors, psychiatrists, social workers, to explain these symptoms, these things, because there's too often stigma around. You see schizophrenia, you think one thing when it can look completely different. So why shouldn't a DA or a judge be willing to hear, from experts in the field about a client, to make a determination, and listen to the doctors when they say, you send this individual to jail, nothing will get better. And to argue opposite and send them there is beyond me.
So again, thank you, because like Lily, one of the things I think that you have crystallized for us is that one of the things that we need to really do if we want to make our communities a safer space, is we need to get clinicians and trained professionals involved in this decision-making process that judges and district attorneys do not have the capability and nor the clinical training to determine what would make the public a safer place, because they're under the impression that we're going to make it a safer place when we lock this person up, without thinking that this person is going to return back to the community. And
right.
If you don't treat them now, you're basically, what you're doing is saying, okay, we want you to sit down for a little while, and then when we release you, you can go back out and play. And play means do the same exact thing because we haven't treated you.
Correct. And sadly, in New York, specifically, I could say, the implications of going to Rikers Island. We say that we abolish the death penalty here, but it's a death sentence. It's not saying you sit down for a while and you're in timeout. You could really be down for the count. And that's the scariest part. And that's what motivates me every single day when my clients call me from Rikers Island and they tell me what's going on. I just tell them that I'm working as hard as I possibly can.
So Lily, tell us what you would tell our audience to have them support Treatment Not Jail. What would you tell our audience? Why should they support this?
So I think that they should support Treatment Not Jail because ultimately each individual who enters our criminal legal system is someone's daughter, son, brother, sister, father, mother, friend. And they're suffering too. Just like the crime that they might have committed, may or may not have committed, they are experiencing issues as well, that they deserve the opportunity to get help and heal from extensive trauma, mental health issues, substance use issues, and get a chance to re-enter the community with the support of their family, with the support of their friends, with the support of the treatment providers. And we should back the treatment providers because they will help keep us safe, because they will be rendering the treatment to these individuals. And you send someone to Rikers Island, they'll come back worse. So, it's not like you're putting somebody away forever. It's just, it's a jail. It's temporary. So they will be back and they will have the same struggles. And that family member, that friend, they're going to, suffer. They're not going to be able to heal, and everybody deserves that chance.
So I want to thank you, Lily, for sharing your experiences, sharing your thoughts on this, and sharing your clinical observation. And we hope that you continue to support the bill, to support those who are in dire need of treatment and not jail, and let us work together towards making our community a safer space by providing treatment for individuals that we know require treatment.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.